Welcome to Emerging Ease, where we will focus on unraveling the difficulties in the midst of our journey and move toward forward progress. This program is not meant to replace any form of therapy, and you are encouraged to seek out a mental health professional if necessary. Hello, hello. It is so awesome to be with you all today. I want to thank you for tuning in. Oh, shucks, my hair looks all extra light colored. I haven't dyed it. It's just the lighting, I promise. Um, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today to Emerging Ease with myself, Keisha. Before we start today, I want to remind you that if you want to advertise or if you are interested in advertising, please email me at emergingease uh, at gmail.com. Also, remember to go on Facebook and join Emerging Ease Facebook group. Um, Before we get started, if you have any questions, please feel free or comments to put them in the chat, and we'll go ahead and start out today. So, today we are talking about resilience. That's a big word. And it's a big word because sometimes we mismanage that word. We misuse the term resilience. So, in looking at resilience, I want us to be really, really mindful of what it means. So the one thing is, if y'all know me, I'm gonna always give a definition, right? So resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. It's considered to be similar or the same as elasticity. Now, let's go back, and I want to take a word out of uh, out of the definition and kind of break it down. So the word quickly, when we think of recover quickly, we have to really, really look at what does quickly truly mean? What does quickly truly mean for us? What does it mean in this definition? Quickly does not mean if something horrible or difficult happens today, then tomorrow I should be fine. Sometimes that can happen, sometimes it doesn't. What quickly really reinforces is that you don't stay in that stuck place. You don't stay in that difficulty. You do not remain or allow yourself to wallow in whatever that difficulty was and whatever that difficulty brought about. Sometimes, in the things that we go through in those difficulties, we get so stuck and we begin to ruminate. And we talked about rumination, I think it was about a week or two ago. It was 2 weeks ago at least, where we talked about that as a toxic characteristic of people who keep attracting toxicity and keep giving out toxicity, ruminating over things. Even with anxiety and depression, rumination is usually in there somewhere. And we have to look at when we have rumination, we can skew what we see as our outcomes, what we see as even the situation. When we ruminate, we begin to look at a situation. Sometimes can become a lot bigger than what it is. In that rumination, we have to be very, very, very super mindful that we keep ourselves in check. And with keeping yourself in check, you have to look at, is this real? Is this true? And is it helping me? And if you've heard that before, that's because before you speak, you're supposed to put those three gates up. Is this real? Is it true? Is it helping me? Or is it helpful? So with that being said, when you look at all three of those things and the things that are going on in your thinking, you have to look at, okay, so this situation did happen. Um, so therefore it's real. Is my view truthful about it? Am I looking at it that I'm the victim and so therefore, there's nothing I can do to resolve it? Or am I looking at it like I am a survivor of whatever the situation is? What can I do to address it and to move forward? Um, Now, is it helpful? What you're thinking about, is it reprocessing those hurtful actions? or interactions that you had with someone, or the hurtful words? Is it just playing them over and over and over and over? Or are you really looking at, how can I avoid this in the future? How can I bounce back from this? What can I learn from this situation? So that's a way to challenge the rumination. And also, with quickly, I want us to be realistic about ourselves and about life. Usually, with people, our quickly is just like that. But with life, and depending on your religious focus, uh, your quick is not the same quick that may come up. So when you're looking at life, when you're looking at events that you've experienced, you can't use your measure of time. Look at it like this: am I farther forward than I was yesterday? Am I farther forward than I was last week? It may be baby steps. It may be minimal, movements, maybe centimeters instead of inches or instead of feet. But is it movement in the right direction? So with resilience, um, some of the things I want to kind of talk about is, with resilience, in order to kind of get it to come about, there have to be at least three things there. The first thing is acceptance. The next thing is purpose. And then there's also flexibility. Oh, shucks. That means I can't sit up and just hold on to stuff. Now, with resilience, and this acceptance, we have to look at how we accept something. Now, if someone says or does something to us that's hurtful, do we say, well, you know what? That's just people, and that's the way they are? Or do we accept also what we do? Okay. So that's kind of looking at the real facts of the situation. What can you accept? What is your part in it? Any interaction we have with other people, usually we place some percentage in that interaction. Um, and in the percentage we play, it's never zero. Okay. Even with a complete stranger. If you have a negative interaction with someone, now that's barring the fact someone comes up and assaults you or something like that. But if there's a back and forth going on, you have some percentage in that interaction. So being mindful of, what is my percentage? What part do I play? Um, and accepting your role. Sometimes, and I'm gonna go ahead and just throw myself out there. Sometimes we can have a whole horrible interaction with a person, and then if you truthfully look back at it and you take the acceptance part of it, and you say, you know what, I can accept that I was about 80% of that disagreement, because I wasn't trying to receive what they were trying to give. I didn't want to hear their response. Not that it was horrible, it's just not what I wanted to hear. So we have to be willing to accept our part in that interaction, as well as accept the part of the other person. Now, with that acceptance, the same genuine consideration that we would want someone to have with us, we have to be able to give that to another person. So, if y'all are like me, and I know some of y'all are in the South, uh, don't do something that you don't want to be done to you. Or as I often tell my girls, when you do something, it's gonna grow teeth and bite you. So be careful how big the teeth you want them. You want those teeth to be, with the way you interact with people. So don't give what you can't, what you don't want to receive. If you don't want to receive it, don't do it. That's the easiest way to avoid conflict and toxicity and horrible breaks in relationships. There's absolutely a way to do that. If I'm getting ready to do something, my first thought should be, would I be okay if somebody did this to me? So if I'm getting ready to go, be rude to blah blah blah. Let me stop first. Would I want them to interact with me like that? Um, and if that's a no, then why am I doing it? And that's a good way to challenge yourself, keep yourself balanced. Also, looking at the purpose. In the interactions that we have with people, we also always have to figure out the purpose. Okay. And I often tell clients that I work with, um, what did you learn from the situation? And to be frank, what I do say is if it didn't kill you, there's a lesson to learn in it. Okay. So what did you learn from it? What did you learn about yourself in that situation? In that situation, what did you learn about how you receive interactions with other people? What did you learn? What did you learn about that person specifically that's having that interaction with you? What came from it? Reflect on it. I think so often we have interactions with people in life and we do not look at why we have this interaction? Why did it go the way it did, whether it's positive or negative? And what can I take from this situation and use somewhere else? Okay. So I'm gonna pause for a hot second and let you guys know that if you miss any portion of this show, or if you just want to say, "Hey, let me go back and see what color Keisha's nails are this week, or see what we talked about that week," please feel free to go on the Bachelor at airtime.pro, Bachelor News Radio, sorry, at airtime.pro. Also, I want you to make sure and tune in to Featured Artist Friday. This Friday, it will be in Vogue, and that starts at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There's also Whisper Softly, which plays from 8 p.m. to midnight from Sunday through Friday. Okay. Make sure you tune into that. You find somebody you're in love with. Hey, tell them, let me tune in. And this next song, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to dedicate to you. I'm going to just call you and say, because this song came on, this is for you. All right, y'all, let's take a brief break and we'll be back in a moment.
If you've got a clogged up nose, simply stuffy. If you've got a snuffly nose, simply stuffy. If the rest of you feel fine, but your nose is out of line, give your snozzle what it needs, Simply Stuffy.
Simply Stuffy, from the makers of Children's Tylenol. It has only the medicine your child needs to make a stuffy nose simply disappear.
If you want to smell a rose, get the stuff out of your nose. If you take a feeling snotty, Simply Stuffy.
Simply Stuffy. Use as direct.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so now we just finished talking about the traits of I'm sorry, let me correct myself. I just got a message and that was a fast message, so LA was on it. It's the thebatchelornews.airtime.pro. I apologize. Y'all, I almost got myself in trouble. We were just talking about 3 common traits of resilience. First, acceptance, second, purpose, and now the third is flexibility. Being able to allow yourself to accept that change happens. People are different. You can interact with someone on Monday, have a totally different interaction on Tuesday. That following week, it's a totally different interaction. And what we think is, well, dang, this person isn't consistent. This person is kind of flaky. Are they? Or are they just being a person? Have things possibly happened in their life that cause them to uh, adjust the way they interact with other people? So being really, really mindful of that. Give others the same leeway that you would want them to give you. If you, for one, know that someone is going through a difficult time in their life, don't sit and, just give them negativity. Allow them that space. If all you are bringing is negativity, then pull back and question yourself. Also, if something happens and change happens, whether it's easy change or difficult change, any change is an adjustment. But easy change is one thing, and I consider easy change as like, hey, we're moving out of this 1 bedroom apartment to a 4 bedroom house, or you're getting a promotion at your job. That's easy change because you're like, "Ooh, all right, a little, room, a little financial peace. It's not going to be as tight." However, when negative change happens, like maybe death, um, illness, all that stuff, we all still need to give each other room to be human because we are not perfect. Now, with ways to build resilience, um, learn to relax, learn, practice, do it. Stop giving yourself excuses. I always tell people, make sure you take care of self first. And the irony is, folks will always say, well, I can't. I got all these people dependent on me and all these people looking up to me. All those people about to be looking over you because you're going to be in the sick bed or in the grave because you're so worried about running here, running there, doing this, doing that. You have got to take time. Now, with the folks that feel guilty, especially parents, okay? Yes, I'm in y'all's business. When you feel like, oh, I can't take time for myself, I've got to get this done. I got to get this done. I got to get this done. I'm going to tell you a secret. There's always going to be something to get done. Always, always, always. But why try to get it all done in this short amount of time? There's usually some things that we can say, you know what, I can do that next week. Or I can carve out this space and time for myself this week or this weekend and focus on me. The reason we have so much difficulty, and I say we as in people, in taking that personal time is because it's been so much ingrained in us that you've always got to be on the move. You've always got to be doing something. You've always got to be busy. Because if you're not busy, bad things happen or you're lazy. Rest is not lazy. Rest is a requirement because I guess I'm going to go on and hit my Christian roots again. Even God rested. So who are you? If he's resting, who are you? Take a break. Rest. In your rest, don't then create other things that you have to go do because that's not resting. Because I even used to do that. I would sit and have a whole day, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this day is going to be great. That whole day, I sat and made to-do lists, tried to start checking stuff off on the to-do list, started trying to prep to get to address things on the to-do list. It was ridiculous. And at the end of that day, I was not rested at all. Nothing was accomplished in that other than creating additional stress. Um, Also, in this time that we have of people sometimes going back and forth between working in person and working at their home, put in some times of rest. It's possible. It's very, very possible. Practice thought awareness. And when I say practice, it's going to take practice. It is. So being mindful of where your thinking is. The one thing I challenge people to do is do it in chunks. When you're challenging your thinking, do it in chunks. Don't try and say, okay, so Monday, I'm going to start writing down all my thoughts. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to really turn them over. Don't do that because guess what? You won't do it. You won't because it's not something that is natural for us as people. Even as therapists, it's not natural. We got to practice it too. So, I mean, we're all in the same boat here. But with practicing your thoughtfulness, you allow yourself to practicing your thought awareness, you allow yourself to catch cycles for yourself. Like, for instance, if you realize by catching your thoughts, dang, by 2 o'clock every day, my attitude is in a hole. I'm thinking negative about everybody. Then you need to find out from that point back, where does it start? What can I do about whatever that starting point is, whatever that trigger may be? Also, with practicing thought awareness, we have the ability to replace those negative thoughts, do something that's different, move forward. Okay. Um, Challenge your outlook on life. With when we talked about toxic characteristics of a person, that kind of came up a little bit, but it wasn't really able to be broken down in that context. But with challenging your outlook on life, if you look at the day as it's going to be horrible and it's going to be worrisome and this person's going to come around and they're going to stress me out, guess what? Your outlook is already tore up. So therefore your day is also going to be tore up. Therefore, the rest of the week's going to be tore up. Every interaction you have with that person or whoever comes across during that time is going to be tore up. So start looking for opportunities to celebrate life. Start looking for opportunities to celebrate other people. So Renee asks, what are some of the physical signs of stress, depression, and anxiety, and what are the steps to change them? The thing is, physical is going to be different for every person. Some people, their shoulders and their neck become tight. Some people, they may sweat heavily. Some people, their heartbeat may feel like, it's about to beat out their chest. They may get headaches. They may get really sleepy. You may want to eat a lot. You may not want to eat. You may be very irritable. There's all kinds of things. The thing is with stress and anxiety, even, because a very similar thing with anxiety, you have to look at how am I feeling right now? Because I identify this as anxiety, or I identify this as stress. I feel stressed. So what is my body doing? Now, to challenge that, oh, it's a lot of things. For one, it's the thought awareness. For two, looking at the situation. For three, is the anxiety and the stress coming from you being rigid because you don't want to be flexible in the situation? Or is it coming from a place that there's a whole situation going on and I really don't want to talk about it? There's a lot of different sources for our stress and anxiety. Now, the thing too is, for some reason, there's been this rumor or assumption that stress levels are supposed to be at zero, anxiety levels are supposed to be at zero. That is not true. If you are living life, you walking and breathing, or you interacting with people, you're gonna have some kind of stress and or some kind of anxiety, possibly. Now, with stress, I usually give people a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, regular everyday stress would be probably about a 5. Okay. That's dealing with whatever your personal stuff is, job stuff, family stuff, life changes, all that stuff. Probably about a 5. That's the midline. Okay. Now, can it get lower? Of course. If you actually take a break and like take a vacation or take some time off or relax, oh, shucks, maybe it could get down to a 3, maybe even a 2 feeling. I don't know. But the thing is, don't assume that you're supposed to be at zero. As far as with anxiety, what things are causing you to be anxious? Because what anxiety is worry. What it is rumination. And it's coming out emotionally and physically. Therefore, you get the feelings of anxiety. Practice, practice, practice relaxing. Find something that's relaxing to you. Some people like to read. Well, of course, don't read a novel that's like what suspenseful. Isn't that gonna push forward anxiety? Find something that's like maybe a self-help book, something that's more focused on peace, happiness, all of that. Um, Learn how to accept that you make mistakes and you have failures. So does everybody else. That's another way to address anxiety and even stress. Sometimes we put expectations on people that are high, but we don't hold ourselves to that same standard that we hold them to. We put ourselves right here. So therefore, when that person isn't hitting here, even though we are here, we're stressed out and we're anxious. We worry, we ruminate. When we have failures, is it a failure or is it an opportunity? Change the way you see things. Because I don't see failures. I see opportunities, opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow, opportunities to change. In that, I always encourage people to look at life as well as themselves and other people like seeds. In order to grow a seed, you got to put it in the dirt. When you put that seed in the dirt, it looks like this is the worst place to be. Why am I here? But every single nutrient, everything that seed needs to grow and to be stable and to have a base to spring from is that dirt. It's not nice. You're going to have to dust some stuff off as you grow. But the point is, you're rooted and you're growing from that situation. You're moving forward. You're becoming fruitful. Okay. Because as we know, if you grow a tree or something, some edible plant that is not based out of the dirt, You got to put a whole bunch of extra stuff in it, and therefore it becomes modified. Mm. Same thing with life. You got to start with some dirt. You're going to have some more dirt thrown on you, but you figure out how to grow and move forward. But excuse me. Sorry about that. Also, be mindful about the way you respond. In your response, especially if it's coming from a place of fear, rumination, not being flexible, expecting others to do something that you are not able to or that you want to, you have to really choose your response. Your response is also going to open the door for the interaction that you have and hopefully the goal that you have set with that person. So I didn't get to hit the last 2 points, which is set your own goals and challenge your perspective because every situation has a different perspective. Okay. So I want to thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at emergingease@gmail.com. And I hope today's discussion, as well as any other discussion, has been and will continue to be helpful in your life.
Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for taking such a time as this to participate in your personal improvement with Emerging Ease. I'm Keisha, your host. Remember that in everything, there's an opportunity to learn and grow. If you are experiencing a difficult time, please reach out to the National Crisis Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. And I look forward to hearing from you next week on Emerging Ease with Keisha.